morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on politics. My guest is no stranger to this show. First District Alderman Ashanti Hamilton was elected to the Milwaukee Common Council back in 2004, and since 2016 he has served as president of the Milwaukee Common Council. How are you, President Hamilton?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me back.
Well, thank you for being here, and we've got a lot to talk about today. Yes, we do. Let's start off talking about Mayor Tom Barrett's city budget proposal for 2020. Okay. It seems that it has caused quite an uproar, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. He presented his budget proposal to the Milwaukee Common Council at the end of September and included what some see as difficult cuts throughout city government. So what are your thoughts on what was actually presented to the Common Council and this whole thing about setting aside $8 million for the pension that could come about in 2023? That's a lot to digest. Talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, every year a budget is proposed. Everybody seems to say, this is the worst budget in years. We can't seem to wrap our arms around being able to pay for things. But one of the reasons that is because we have such a constraint on how much money we can raise, but everything continues to increase in cost. And oftentimes that increase in cost is far more than what we can actually raise taxes for or what we can generate in revenues. So it's going to continually constrict us in what we can, what you can do on a municipal level.
Wow.
And the reason why that's such a big challenge this year is because, you know, we have to make a contribution to the pension. We have to fully fund our pension per state law, right? And so because of that, somewhere back in 2000 and I think it was 2010, around then, we had to start making contributions to that. It was, you know, this money is in the, you know, it's in the stock market and doing different things. It's invested, and so long as it's performing very well, you don't have to.
The money's there. Yeah.
The money's there. You make it makes the contribution. When it's not performing as well, we have the obligation to fill that gap.
Gotcha.
And that's the pension contribution. And it's projected through, you know, some of our financial advisors. They call them actuaries. They make predictions on how much return is going to happen on this invested money. We have been somewhere around 8%, and they're saying it's not going to perform that well. We're going to, you know, predict that it's going to do a little less, 7.5, something like that. And that's going to produce a gap, and it may be more than $100 million.
Wow.
Right? And so instead of taking that big hit all at once down the road in 2023,
yeah.
Instead of taking that big hit with one large payment, then, you know, what he's suggesting is start paying a little bit now, save up, and then the hit is a little less, you know, hard down the road. It's a good thought. That's the way that we have been doing it. We've had a 5-year smoothing formula that we've been using the past 5 years to predict that. It's been working pretty well for us. But it is a huge chunk of the budget to have to take out when you have so many pressing issues that's facing the city right now. There are a lot of things that people want to see paid for. When we talk about public safety, when you talk about the infrastructure and the streets and potholes, people are talking about the exposure to lead. So all of these major things that are immediate problems, it's hard to set aside $8 million. And initially when we were talking, there was a suggestion that was coming out of the budget office that it should be 10. So, you know, that takes a huge chunk out of what's there to operate and do some of the things that a lot of people in the city want to see happen.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad that you're here to really break it down because I think everyday people, they watch the news, they read the newspaper, and they try to digest it all and understand or take these quotes from different politicians. Some are saying, we can work it out if we do X, Y, and Z. Others are saying, like you said earlier, it's the worst thing they've ever seen in 20 years, So you really don't know what to think. So I really appreciate you coming down and breaking it down in layman's terms so that everyone can really have an opportunity to understand what's going on and ultimately have a say because you are giving citizens an opportunity to speak. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I'm wondering, with these fiscal difficulties, is that going to affect public services and the jobs of those who are employed by the city of Milwaukee?
Yeah, so one of the things that's suggested is that there be a hiring freeze, and that may impact promotions as well. And see, this is a problem because it's already difficult to maintain and retain employees, right? I mean, many of the employees have not seen a pay increase in a long time. We tried to give them one last year. We did give them one, a 2% increase. It didn't happen until like the 13th pay period, which is almost the middle of the year. Which it's still not bringing them to a point where they're competitive with our surrounding municipalities. That's not a really good place to be in for a city of our size. That's counting on people to show up every day and do a good job. So you get a lot of complaints about the quality of snow removal, the quality of pothole filling, the quality of our tree trimming, and whether or not we're keeping up with the schedules. It's very difficult to do if you don't have people. And if you keep losing your most experienced people, both to the private sector and then to surrounding municipalities, then there's no motivation for them to stay there. Right.
Yeah, I remember that happened this past winter, and here we are, kind of coming up on the cold months again, and they had these people who were filling in, or were they contracted, and they had to call some old heads back in to kind of get it done. But like you said, experience goes a long way, especially when you talk about a city of this size and the snowfalls that we get. That removal is everything because we're not like a lot of the smaller cities, down south or whatever.
We don't get to shut down because
exactly. We keep it moving.
This is Milwaukee. We're supposed to know how to do this.
Absolutely.
And it's a huge price tag in the budget.
I bet.
Right?
Absolutely.
We pay almost every snowfall, every major snowfall where you send out the plows, almost every single one of them is $1 million or more.
Wow. And I think people don't ever really think about that. We think we pay our taxes and these things should be done. But like you said, the cost of certain things continue to increase, but then you've got these other things that are not allowing you to keep up with that pay increase. So, Alderman Tony Zielinski, he has announced that he's running for mayor. He put out a statement that this budget proposal will mean cuts to public safety, public services, and increased taxes. He also has an issue with the streetcar. He says it's taken at least $1.5 million that we need for public safety and other city services. So I'm interested in knowing, since he brought up the streetcar, your thoughts on where we are with the streetcar. Is it producing the revenue that we had hoped? Did it play a role in us being able to bring the DNC to the city? How has it worked or not worked in your opinion?
Yeah, I want to definitively say it didn't play a role in bringing the DNC.
Okay.
Right. For the most part, from my understanding, and the streetcar only makes sense, right, if there is a benefit that comes from that investment. Like all of this that we're doing downtown is about investing, and it's about getting a return on that investment. We have got some preliminary reports that said that that there was development that occurred along the streetcar route, and that there was a return on that investment. The real estate properties went up, and that's a good thing.
Right.
However, we were also told that we would not have to use tax levy dollars to actually pay for the operation of the streetcar. And that has not proven to be 100% accurate.
Okay.
And there are a lot of people who were in support of the streetcar who were under the impression that we would not have this ongoing cost that you would have the opportunity to spend in other places. You could spend that money in police, you could spend that money on streets, you could spend that money somewhere else. Because initially what we were using was grant dollars in order to get this project going.
Right.
And part of the sale of that was that this was not going to take resources out of education. It wasn't going to take resources out of, and I think as this strategy grows, that, you know, because it's if you want to know my thoughts, the other way that this only makes sense is if the streetcar fits into the broader regional transportation strategy for southeastern Wisconsin, right? Simply as a novelty downtown, it's a huge cost and it's a huge risk to invest in if that's all it's ever going to be. If it's not integrated into the bus system and the regional system, and we have a way of kind of generating resources in order to pay for it, because most public transit, and you'll be hard pressed to find any public transit in the United States that's not subsidized in some way, you know, by government money, then then it's going to cost us in order to run it. So let's not pretend like that's never going to happen. But you need to be upfront with people about that cost and be honest about the numbers, so that there's not a hide in the ball type of situation. And I think that's what many people who are in the, I would call it the, you know, the Zelensky, Donovan, more conservative camps, they don't want this this novelty, you know, that's why they call it a trolley, this novelty piece start taking resources that were spent for, you know, hard services that everybody wants to see increased. They don't want to see this thing take that. The other thing that many of us on the north side that represent a lot of the residents on the north side that are seeing their properties increase based off of the investment in the arena and some of the downtown investments, a lot of neighborhoods that are around that that are experiencing very rapid property tax increases, property value increases, and we're seeing displacement, gentrification in those neighborhoods. And so one of the things that we're asking for is for the philanthropic and corporate community, many of whom are benefiting from this investment, that they put aside resources to help stabilize those neighborhoods so that people are not displaced, to offset the cost of the tax rate increases that's displacing a lot of people in those neighborhoods.
Wow, so much going on.
Yeah.
And there's this one scenario that Mayor Barrett is pushing for, and it's support of a countywide sales tax. So I know we're going to hear about all of these things that you've brought up during the upcoming primary in February. It's going to be very interesting to say the least. But the mayor says if the sales tax is approved, there won't be any police cuts. The city would be able to provide equipment for the fire department, and there would be money to fix streets and abate lead. But that's a big if, considering that it has to be approved by the legislature to even put this on the ballot, right?
Yeah.
What are the chances of that happening?
That's exactly right. And the chances are slim because, you know, the majority leader has already said that he wasn't going to schedule it. He said it was dead on arrival. And so, but there's a lot of work, and I have to give some credit, just a shout out to the chair of the county board, Theo Lipscomb, and the county executive, Chris Abley, because they co-chaired this kind of this regional task force. That was the Fair Deal Task Force, and brought together a lot of entities in the region. And I think there's more momentum around having a fair approach to our funding mechanism that the city of Milwaukee and all the municipalities in the state. The way we do a cost sharing with the state is that it's typically just structured through state shared revenue, and that's our structure. And we've been getting the short end of the stick around that structure, and we've been positioned in the state as the the poverty-stricken city that's in need of extra help from the state. Come in and save us, and give us extra help. When the truth of the matter is that we are the economic engine.
Absolutely.
Right?
The largest city in the state.
We're the largest city in this state, right? We hold the greatest regional assets that exist in this state. And when most people are thinking about the state of Wisconsin, a lot of times, right? A lot of times they're talking about this region. They're talking about, they're talking about this region.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around
right.
it. And when you're talking about what our contribution is, where the income tax is created, that's being sent to the state, we're talking over $1.5 billion that we're sending up there, and we're getting just a fraction of that back when it comes to the cost.
So about 16%, I read.
Yeah.
That's
about 16.
That's a drop in the bucket.
That's a drop.
Yeah.
So I hate the positioning of the city as, you have to help that poor city a little bit more. Look, they're not taking care of themselves. They need help. When the truth of the matter is we're subsidizing the rest of the state, and we're simply asking for the ability to be able to control that destiny so that we can help the state more.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
It all makes sense. Let us help you. Help us help you.
Yes. Help us help ourselves. So, President Hamilton, all this talk about, the mayoral race that's coming up. Last November, you opened a mayoral campaign account.
I did.
But you never formally filed a declaration of candidacy for mayor. As a matter of fact, you made it pretty clear on this show at the time that you were leaning more towards running for mayor. I'm very interested in understanding what has changed.
Yeah.
Don't answer it just yet. We're going to take a
jump
break. We're going to come right back to continue our conversation with Milwaukee Common Council President Ashanti Hamilton. We'll discuss important issues like that upcoming race for Milwaukee mayor, maybe get in some questions about the DNC and a whole lot more. We'll do that right after this.